Hey guys, this is Nick, and thanks for tuning in to Long Island Wargaming. And this is going to be the second game from the Mighty Titans tournament that I played in. And this is the modified Watchtower. And essentially, it is a Blood Forest instead of a Watchtower. And you get points by controlling the Blood Forest. You get 10 tournament points. And then the secondary objectives are you can be the person to move the Blood Forest the most by casting spells in or out of it. And then you can also get points for taking the most wounds from it, which is pretty funny. And then you can also get points for having a unit of fortitude within 6 inches and essentially having your BSB and general in the forest. And then also, even if if both sides control it, nobody gets it, but you still get the 1 point for having fortitude if you have fortitude there. Alright, so I got placed up against a high elf player. And here's his army. I had from left to right, he has big brick of white lions, big brick of Phoenix Guard, 15 silver helms, and then 2 phoenixes, and then 2 units of reavers. Now the reavers and the silver helm, I guess, fill up the core, so it was interesting seeing that unit of 15. I know I've played a couple of games with Rich, and that's not something I've seen yet, but I guess since you do attack in the 3 ranks now with the high elves, I guess it's I guess it makes sense to try that. So, and then for my list, as is from game 1, everything is the same, just in a different position. And essentially, I just out-deployed him, so I waited to figure out where the Phoenixes were going to go. The Phoenixes were going to go, so I could leave the Hellpit Abomination far away from them and put the Doom Wheel up front so he could deal with them. There's a Vanguard first turn. And then also I forgot to say I was given the opportunity to put core into the forest. I didn't bother, really. I could have put my bunker in there, but I didn't really see it necessary. And he automatically gets first turn, moves everything up. He puts the Phoenixes behind the Reavers. The one Phoenix won't stand up because of the incline on the hill. And he's got high magic. Not sure what spells he gets off the first turn. I think he got really low Winds of Magic, which was fine by me. And then on my turn, the lightning cannon's all the way there in the corner. So on my turn, I get the rat darts up just to get in the way. The Doom Wheel makes a huge successful charge into the Reaver. Since it's compulsory, I don't believe he gets to make a stand and shoot reaction or a flee reaction or anything. Everything just shuffles up a little bit. The one slave unit makes a mad dash towards the white lions so I can get them caught in combat. The rat dart moves up also. This way he doesn't try to make a charge against the Hellpit Abomination. I don't really want the Hellpit Abomination in contact with or in a front charge against the white lions because of I don't know. It's just a lot of attacks at high strength, and it would be going before my Hellpit would go, so I just don't want to give him an opportunity to kill it. And then if the giant rats get in, if the slaves get in, they could just lock the unit into combat. The engineer is going to stay in the slave unit just because I've been having bad luck with the bell. I don't feel like having crappy leadership while trying to stay there, so I'm not going to take the engineer out of the slave unit. The engineer in the slave unit close to us does come out, and he does run up so he can go shoot the Doom Rocket at the cavalry, which will be nice. He does go ahead and fire the Doom Rocket, but I believe it ends up undershooting, so it was pretty bad. And then for magic, I get off the dreaded 13th onto the Phoenix Guard, which is pretty huge because I can now kill those guys outright without giving him the 4+ ward save, so I'm thrilled that I got that off. I got it off with Irresistible Force, which is not great, but then he doesn't have a chance to scroll it. I roll a whopping 5 for Curse of the Horn Rat, which is terrible. So I only killed 5. I roll 3 1s, which really sucks. I could have wiped out half that unit if I rolled decent, not necessarily really well. And then everybody in base contact with the Gracier takes a strength, I don't know, 10 or 6 hit, whatever that miscast is. And since it's that giant base for the Screaming Bell, everyone's in contact with him essentially, so 15 guys drop. And let's see. That's right. So the Doom Rocket goes off in shooting, of course, and I guess I rolled what looks like to be 17, 18, 19. So I guess I overshot. So I killed 1 Silver Helm. In combat, the Doom Wheel crushes the not the Silver Helms, the Reavers, and then overruns into a Phoenix, which I'm thrilled about. And then on High Elf turn, the Silver Helms make a charge for the Screaming Bell, and that was pretty awesome for him. And then everything else moves up. The Reavers go into the Rat Dart there. There's no charges made by the White Lions, which I'm happy about, and the Phoenix Guard are past the forest at this point. So the charge with the Silver Helms, though, is a interesting one. He goes ahead and directs all of his attacks at the Bell, which, of course, if this was Anthony, he would have went straight for the Gracier, which he did in the first game, which probably would have been the better bet for him, is just killing the Gracier, but he does go for the Bell instead. So, because I guess at that point he has the high strength, strength 5 on the charge, I believe. He would have had a better chance of killing the Gracier than the Bell, because it's more wounds, higher toughness, and it still has that 4-up ward save. This engineer ended up fleeing just due to the fact that it got charged, and I fled, and I guess he redirected into those giant rats. During magic, he gets off the template spell, and I don't know what it's called, I forget, but it's strength 3 hits across the board, which is good. The engineer with the lodestone is not in the unit at this point. It's actually in the halberdier unit, which is unfortunate. So he picked the right unit, even though it's a higher toughness. I was under the impression that this thing could scatter, kind of like foot spell does for orcs, but I guess since it doesn't clearly say needs to always scatter, I guess you roll the scatter dice, and he rolled a direct hit. So I didn't realize it would have to direct hit. I thought it always had to sway. So whatever. He drops it right there. He kills a handful. Not as many as I thought, but I mean, looks like maybe 10. And the Doom Wheel ends up impact hitting and doing a bunch of wounds to the Phoenix and chasing him away. The Doom Wheel does take a wound. However, I'm fine by that. And then, unfortunately, it causes panic in the other Phoenix, so now that Phoenix is also running. So the Doom Wheel is doing its job. This is exactly what I wanted it to do in the other game that I played against Rich in the earlier battle report. So this was a awesome usage of the Doom Wheel, and this is just a better example as to why I should probably put 2 in a list. Alright, so let's take a look at my turn. I run the slaves into the Silver Helms for some combat res that I guess is a calculated risk, you could say, but he could get 6 attacks back at me with all the riders and the horses, which is fine, but I'm going to be getting a charge, a flank charge, and 3 ranks between the 2 units, whichever, which is great. So, and it also negates his 1 rank too, so it's worth it, I think, even though the slaves are easy to kill. Bunker unit doesn't really do anything. The Plague Monks march up because I figured they'd be a good choice to deal with the halberdiers, the Phoenix Guard that is, and I wasn't able to really charge the Storm Vermin in against the Silver Elves just based on the fact that everything was very tight. So I just get ready to do that next turn. And the Helped Abomination I have marched right past the right past the White Lions. The mistake I also made was I forgot to charge the slaves in, because the goal is to get the Helped Abomination to flank or rear charge the unit while the slaves are stuck in combat. This way I'm not fighting the front where he gets 3 ranks worth of weapon skill, 5 strength, 6 attacks. So but anyway, the slaves line up just in case there is an overrun or anything that is away from everything. Alright. In Magic, I get off the Dread 13th and do a little bit better this time. I'm able to kill, looks like, I don't know, 14 guys. And oh, that's right, he can't scroll it because he's got the Hoeth book, which sucks. He's got the level 4 caster and a BSB in that Phoenix Guard unit, so I've got the Plague Monks and the Storm Vermin ready to deal with that unit, hopefully. In shooting, I do take a shot at it with the Fire Thrower, and it instead just decides to blow up, which is fine. The Doom Wheel moves into the other Phoenix and kills it, which is great, and then decides to overrun into impassable terrain and blow up because it takes d6 strength 6 hits when it hits impassable terrain. So whatever, it served its purpose. 150 points, keeping whatever 500 points worth of Phoenixes at bay. So, and it looks like nothing else really going on. I don't really kill that many Silver Helms, it looks like. The Rat Ogre, I think, kills 1 or 2, and the Clan Rats really don't do much because of the armor saves. And for High Elves, he makes a charge into the Plague Monks, which is fine. And he does not charge the Slaves, which is also fine. Instead, he decides to reform to face a different direction. The help hit, so he's facing away from the forest, but he's touching the forest now, which is good. And then, really, Magic, I don't really remember it doing anything. I either dispel or scroll all of his spells, and he kills a bunch of Plague Monks. And I do use the Plague Banner and try to kill some guys, but nothing really happens, believe it or not. So that's actually pretty crazy. So they're steadfast, the Phoenix Guard. No, they're not steadfast. They stay, because I think I ended up losing combat just based on the amount of guys that died. Whatever, they stood there. I don't remember really what happened. I get on my turn, I get the Storm Vermin into the Silver Helms to help fight there. As you can see, there's still a handful of Silver Helms, which is pretty awesome. And the bunker unit just starts to move around in case they have to deal with the Phoenix Guard from either overrunning or just killing Plague Monks or whatever. The Helped Abomination makes a run towards the Reavers and maybe get in contact with them. If not a big deal. He's going to turn around and charge the White Lions. Essentially, I really don't want to get in contact with the White Lions, like I said. I'm sure a bunch of you are going to say just get the thing in. Having them run around is even more pointless. But whatever, I felt like I was in a good shape. I didn't want to go ahead and feed points. And there really isn't any spells that are going to go backwards at me, I don't think. And the shooting isn't really worrisome. There's no bolt throwers or anything, so... I believe I get the dreaded 13th off again and kill 14 White Lions, which is awesome. I'm rolling right on with the average of 4 dice. So I'm really happy about that, since they won't get the save from the World Dragon Banner, World Banner Dragon thingamajig. So he's not getting a 2-up, they're just getting slain outright. And then I have enough dice to roll at Plague, so it's a pretty awesome magic phase. I end up killing all the Silver Helms except the Command, which actually takes the Storm Vermin out of combat, so they're not even fighting. And no panic on the White Lions. There's I'm sorry. The Plague Monks grind down a little bit more, really not able to kill anything, so they actually end up breaking, and the Phoenix Guard overrun into the Storm Vermin for a flank charge. And in combat, I guess I end up finishing off the Silver Helms. Actually, no, the Silver Helms end up staying for some reason. I think he rolled really good for... I don't remember. Yeah, for some reason they ended up staying, or I killed them, I don't remember. At this point, he runs the White Lions into the Slaves, because at this point they're just kind of doing nothing, so might as well get stuck fighting crap instead of dying and doing nothing. The Reavers go in against the Giant Rats, which is fine. And why do I have this spell here? Alright, I remember. It's Fiery Convocation, that spell. And he casts it onto the bunker unit and pretty much destroys it. And it's down to 5 guys. And yeah. And they actually panic and turn to start running, which really sucks. The Rat Dart is killed outright. The Storm Vermin take 5 wounds, and I am not able to kill the Phoenix Guard at all. And the Phoenix Guard actually run down the Storm Vermin. So essentially that support charge against the Silver Helms ended up screwing me because of the overrun and flank charge against the Storm Vermin. That's pretty unfortunate. So, still fighting the Silver Helms. The Rat Ogre kills some. At this point, this is the last shot of the game. What happens is I rear charge with the Hellpit Abomination to help kill the White Lions. The Plague Monks rally. The last Silver Helms are killed, and I get the 13th off onto the Phoenix Guard unit, destroying both the Lord caster, the BSB, and the rest of the unit. And I placed that unit down with the command. I didn't put the models out properly, but you do get a command and equipment for the dreaded 13th. So they come down facing the forest. So they're going to run into the forest and claim the fortitude and the actually having the forest. I forgot to mention when I did the dreaded 13th onto the White Lions, they took additional hits from the forest because it's a blood forest, and they were touching the forest at the time, and the forest marched that way, like 12 inches or something. Maybe not 12, a little bit less, because that would be 2 dice, probably about 6 inches closer to me, which is great. So now I have an opportunity to move 2 units with fortitude into that forest, claiming it. And we didn't really get to play that much out because the opponent I was playing was actually on staff at the store that day, so I really only got to play half of the allotted time for the game because he had to stop and help a couple customers, which isn't really a big deal to me. I don't care. But he did give me the points because we weren't able to play out the fact that I was going to claim the forest, no problem. And that's it, really. So let me just take a quick look at the scenario just to see what points I got. So I got the 10 points for beating my... nope, that's the wrong one. I did get the 10 points for controlling the Blood Forest. I did cast the most spells, so I got the 5 victory points on that. The most spells that moved the forest, that is. He got the 3 points for the most unsaved wounds against the forest. And then I would get the point for the fortitude. And I wouldn't get the point for the BSB in general because
although my general was in, my BSP fled off the table actually towards the end of the game, since he had no ranks and leadership 7 from the Gracier wasn't helping him. So that is that. So yeah, that was game 2. Victory for this one for myself. I got myself some points. Now I'm on the scoreboard, which is cool, but pretty far behind after getting 0 points in the first game. So hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for game 3 of the Mighty Titans tournament. And yep, cool.